guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are here with another video, and this one is going to be a good one. I know a lot of you guys have been requesting this video and it's taken me a little while to get to it. I am sorry about that, but you know what? I have some good tips. I wrote down 7 total tips that I wish I knew. I don't even know what I'm going to title this video, but basically they're tips that I wish I knew before starting nursing school and my best tips as a last semester nursing student. These are things that if somebody that was about to start nursing school, if they were to ask me for my advice, my tips after going through a year and a half of nursing school and going into my last semester, these would be the things that I would tell them. So, you know, you guys are kind of like my friends, you know? A lot of you guys message me, a lot of you guys ask me, you know, my best tips, my best advice for starting nursing school, and a lot of you guys have requested this video, so we are gonna get into it. I know there are a lot of videos like this on YouTube. I have not watched any of them just so that I can stay really genuine to what I think you should know when starting nursing school. By the way, if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Jackie. I am a nursing student. I'm actually going into my last semester, starting here in August. And if you haven't been here before, if you do like my videos, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, and comment down below if you have any requests or any questions. I always respond to all of my comments down below. So yeah, alrighty, so I think we are ready to begin. So if you guys want to know my best tips that I think you should know before starting nursing school, then just keep watching. Alrighty guys, so I have 7 total tips that I have sat down, thought about, and I'm like, these are like the magical 7 things. If I could sum it all up, everything about nursing school, all of my advice that I could possibly give you guys, I summed it up into 7 little points. They're not little because I'll probably go into detail. You guys know me, I talk a lot, so we'll probably go into detail about all these 7 things. If you see me looking to the side, it's because I have a list here on the side. I'm gonna try not to look there, and oh my god, I just remembered. I need to stop. I know a lot of you guys have been commenting that I look at the viewfinder. It's because I just got a new camera, and it's so weird to look at the camera and not look at yourself, because it's like looking in a mirror and like looking at something like next to a mirror instead of looking at yourself. You kind of want to look at yourself, you know what I mean? I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but I'm gonna try as hard as I can to look into the camera and not into the viewfinder, which I just recorded my intro and all I was doing was staring at the viewfinder. So the first thing that I would say as an advice to an incoming nursing student or any nursing student is going to be get familiar with medical terminology. Now, I know this is kind of an obvious thing, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of the time when you start clinical and you have a patient, you're reading nursing notes, you're reading doctor's notes, you're reading physical therapy notes, you're reading literally the entire care plan of this patient, you are going to run into so much medical terminology. Now, I didn't know that medical terminology on a patient's file was so in depth and that so many people use so many words for so many different things. Like, I remember my first clinical going in and like reading, like I literally had to Google almost every other word just because they use so much medical terminology. And a lot of what they use are things that I had never learned in anatomy and physiology and micro, and I never took medical terminology, so I had no familiarity with it. So what I started doing was actually going on Pinterest and look up medical terminology, and I'd put nursing at the end of it just so that I can get specific nursing terminology. Not only are you going to see it at the hospital, but you're also going to see it in your book and in school. Sometimes your book will tell you like medical terminology, like you'll have an actual page for medical terminology. If they do, what I would do is just copy it and put it into any binder, any folder that you have, just so every day when you're opening up your binder, you can see that. But just memorizing medical terminology is gonna help you so much. Okay, the second tip that I have, so like I said, this video is typically more, my audience that I'm kind of aiming for are nursing students that are starting a nursing program. So the second thing that I have to say is watch YouTube videos on nursing skills, basic nursing skills and nursing practices. And practice on your family. So a lot of what you're going to do in clinical, especially your first semester, is going to be learning nursing basics. So there are so many great videos here on YouTube, and Registered Nurse RN, I know I talk about her literally all the time if you guys see my channel, but I just love her so much, and she has such great educational videos. So that would definitely be my second point, is to watch as much nursing skills and nursing videos as you possibly can. Learning how to do a head to toe, because if you didn't know, in clinical, you're gonna have to do a head to toe on a real live patient, yes, a real live patient, in front of your instructor. And when you are in that situation, you feel very uncomfortable and you might forget things. So what I do is typically before clinical, I actually brush up on all those basic nursing skills. Remember you guys, I'm a year and a half in and I am still continuously watching these nursing skills videos just so that I don't forget it and I remember the comprehensive head to toe assessment. And that's just gonna help you so much. I still watch videos on how to start IVs. I still watch videos on, I don't really watch videos on like blood pressure and like doing your, what are those called? On taking vitals, just because I've done that so much. But when you are first starting out, definitely buy a blood pressure cuff. My school didn't require one and my school didn't provide one. They did allow us to have one in our skills lab, but it's so great to practice it on family. Every once in a while, I'll literally just take out the blood pressure cuff and I'll take my mom's blood pressure, I'll take my dad's blood pressure, and a lot of the times when they're not feeling good, they actually ask me to take their blood pressure. So, you know, I kind of feel like a nurse when they ask me that, but but yeah, so that's gonna be another tip, is to practice all those things, practice your head to toe, practice listening to lung sounds, practice finding the heart rate on patient, on your family, so that when you do have a patient, you're not confused, like, I can't hear it, oh my God, I can't hear it. You know what I mean? That's kind of like uncomfortable, especially if it's a patient you don't feel comfortable with, you know, and when you first start clinicals, you're not gonna be comfortable with patients. It's just the reality. You're gonna feel very uncomfortable going into somebody's room who's in a robe and you're complete strangers and you're going all up on them. You're gonna feel uncomfortable. So the more that you practice on your family, the more comfortable you are gonna feel in front of a patient. So that's gonna be my second tip. My third tip is going to be to practice loads of practice questions. Now, you guys know that on my YouTube channel, I talk a lot about the struggles of nursing school and what the hardest parts of nursing school are. One of the things that I include in that is definitely the tests and the type of questions. If you guys don't know, nursing schools they don't do their regular knowledge-based questions, they do application type questions. Now, that is something that's gonna take you a while to figure out. I know it took me a while, it took a lot of my classmates a while. Some people understand it super quick and they don't struggle with it, and I applaud them because year and a half in, I'm still struggling with those questions, by the way. But the way that I have helped myself and I've been able to get better grades is by just doing loads and loads of practice questions. Now remember, in your NCLEX, all that's gonna be on your NCLEX are gonna be those application type questions, just like they are on your nursing exams. So practicing application type questions after you've already studied the material, it's gonna help you a ton, because it's gonna put you in that perspective of, what am I gonna do? If this patient comes in with all of these signs and symptoms, what's the first thing that's gonna come into my mind? Well, I'm thinking about this. Okay, I'm thinking that they have this disorder or disease. And then if the question asks you, what's your priority? You have to go through those steps in your head. And once you figure out what you think they have, you can start to remember, okay, so what's the priority in a person with, you know, hypertension? And then you're able to think about it. And that's the type of thinking that you're gonna do when you do these questions. It's not just gonna be a what is this and the answer's gonna pop up at you because you've studied the material. No, we are way past that here in nursing school. So practicing those questions is gonna get you in that headspace, and it's gonna help you understand, like, okay guys, so the fourth thing that I'm going to be talking about for tips when starting nursing school is going to be time management and self-care. Now, these may be things that are very obvious to you now. Pre-nursing school, you know, you're taking your basics, you know, you already kind of know that you have to time manage when you're doing anatomy and chemistry, nutrition, and all these classes. But you guys, when you are in nursing school, this stuff is draining. It drains you. Being in clinical, trying to absorb all this information, all these machines, all these patients, the nurses, the doctors, the physical therapists, it's overwhelming. And sometimes you forget to take care of yourself. You forget to sleep. You forget, you know, you're trying to study so much that you lose hours of sleep, and then you wake up the next day and you're not able to concentrate on your test because you didn't get any sleep. All of these things are going to really start to play in. And you guys have to remember, if you don't take care of yourself, you're not able to take care of anybody else. You have to take care of yourself before you take care of anybody else. Before nursing school, I didn't really have test anxiety. I felt like once I studied, you know, I felt comfortable with the material, then I wouldn't really get anxious for the test because I knew by the amount that I studied what I knew, and then I knew that once I saw the test, I was gonna know it all. You start nursing school, that all kind of changes, just because you can study an insane amount and you could still do poorly on an exam. As crazy as that sounds, that's how nursing school is. That's why I told you guys that you need to do loads of practice questions, because you can have that material completely memorize. And if you're not able to apply that material, then everything that you studied is literally for no reason, because you're not going to be able to answer those questions. So time management and self-care are extremely important. Nursing school is going to take so much out of you. It's going to take hours of your day. You're going to need to study literally every single day because it is so much information. You guys have to remember, we have lives on our hands. We are going to be taking care of patients. We have to know the signs and symptoms if they're going downhill, if they're degrading, and we need to do something that in a split second can either save their life or cause us to lose their life. So this school is really, really hard and really, really stressful, and sometimes you consume yourself so much with this information that you forget to take care of yourself. So different things that you could do for self-care is taking walks, going to the gym. That's something that I used to do so much before I started nursing school, and once I started nursing school, I kind of just threw that out the window, because every time that I was at the gym, I'm like, wow, I'm wasting so much time right now that I could be studying. That's exactly my mindset that I had. Honestly, to be completely honest with you, that I've had for a year, and now that I'm in the summer and I am going back to the gym, I feel like I have such a different headspace and I feel so much better about myself. And I feel like if I continue to go to the gym while I am in nursing school, I feel like it's just gonna ease so much of my anxiety that I do have. Okay guys, tip number 5. Now this is something that sadly is really, really, really hard to do, but it is something that is so extremely important for you not to do. It's going to be to compare yourself to other nursing students, your friends, anybody in your nursing student life. Something that I see literally every single time I take an exam is people comparing themselves to others, and people validating how well they did on an exam based on how their friends did on an exam. And this is something that is so toxic. It is so toxic, because I have seen where somebody feels happy about their test grade and then they go around asking how everybody else did, and everybody else did a lot better. Then they completely feel like trash and they feel like they did a terrible job because everybody, you know, got A's and she got an 88. And I have a friend that does this a lot, and I try to tell her so many times, and thankfully I don't really have a problem with this, just because I know that my test grades don't equal the nurse that I'm gonna be. But there are so many people that do this, and it is so bad, you guys. Like, I mean, it doesn't make sense, because then the next time you take an exam, what are you focused on? You're focused on trying to do as good as your friends, and that mentality is gonna cause you to not do as well on your exam. So remember that your grades do not amount to the nurse that you're gonna be. You can be the most caring person in the world, you could be amazing, and you could be the best nurse ever and still have made C's on your exams. Okay guys, so tip number 5, get to know your teachers. Get to know them personally, not just in your class. When you're in nursing school, you have semesters that are constantly back and forth, like you have new teachers every single semester. And I know it's kind of hard to do that. The way that I have found to get to know my teachers and for my teachers to get to know me is, if I have any questions, instead of just Googling it or looking it up in my book, something that we talked about in lecture and something that I need clarified, instead of asking one of my friends, at the end of class, I'll go up to my teacher so that she sees me, he or she sees me face to face. I'm sorry about that. So that he or she sees me face to face, and I ask them questions and they get to see my face and get familiar with my face. Another way to do this is also raising your hand when they ask questions in class. Even if you're wrong, you guys, it doesn't matter. They're gonna remember you. They're gonna look at you eye to eye, and they're gonna remember your face. You could also introduce yourself the first day of class and just say, hey, I'm Jackie. I just wanted to, you know, come and personally introduce myself, blah, blah, blah. You could do that as well. And then at the end of the semester, what I have done before is give a thank you card. If you have a teacher that you feel like really made an impact and helped you study a lot and really motivated you, give them a thank you card and write your name on it. And trust me, that's gonna help them remember you, because they're gonna say, you know, I know that they talked a lot in class. I know that they came and asked me a lot of questions. They really care about being a nursing student. They really care about being a nurse, and they gave me a thank you card. Like, they're really gonna remember your name. So once you're applying to jobs and that all comes around and you need a recommendation letter, guess who you can ask? The teacher that you talked to a lot, that you gave a letter to, and all that, and they can write a recommendation card for you. So that is definitely one of the best advice. Like, that's probably one of the best tips that I can give you here, is just getting to know your teachers and making sure your teachers get familiar with you and your name, so that once you need recommendation letters, which is gonna come up this semester for me. I already have some teachers that I can ask if they can give me recommendation letters for these jobs, or I can put as a reference. So that is something that is super important. I know you guys must be like, why do I need to do that as a first semester nursing student? Trust me, that is something that is super important. And you might not think about it until the last semester, but once it's the last semester, it's kind of late already. And there's probably gonna be a bunch of students asking that last semester teacher for recommendation letters. So you're just gonna be a teardrop in a puddle of water. So, alrighty guys, my tip number 7. This is also something that is super important, which I probably should have done in the beginning of the video. This is something that is so important, you guys. Doing as much as you can in the hospital, volunteering yourself, telling your nurse what you can do. Even if you're nervous, if somebody is starting a straight cath, if somebody is starting a Foley catheter, if somebody is starting an IV, if somebody is giving an injection, if you see a nurse walking by with a bag, if you have already been cleared and you are already approved to be able to do that in the hospital, introduce yourself to the nurse and say, hey, I see you're holding some fluids. Is there any way that I can put that up for you? I can hang that up for you. Or hey, I see you're starting an IV. Is it okay if I start that IV for you? Or hey, I see that you're starting a Foley catheter. Is it okay if I do that for you? I'm a nursing student. I've already been approved to do this. There have been opportunities where I could have started an IV, and because I was so nervous, I didn't. Now I'm a year and a half in and I have not started an IV. I am going to change that this semester, and I have been trying already I've already been trying for like this entire last semester, and I wasn't able to because I was in pediatrics and OB, and I wasn't able to. There was no opportunity that came up for me to be able to do that. But if there is anything that comes up in the hospital, make your voice heard. Tell your nurse in the beginning of the day, this is all that I can do. If you have a Foley, if you have a shot that I can give, if you have a flu shot, if you have, if you have to start an IV, if you have to, anything, you guys, just tell them face to face, because a lot of the times nurses don't even know what you can do. They have nursing students every other day and they just want to do their job, and they don't want that nursing student to do anything. So if you see your nurse doing any of that and you're shadowing her, just ask her. The worst you can say is, no, I prefer to do it myself. And you say, okay, that's fair. And you move on to the next time that you're able to do that. But just taking advantage of all the opportunities that you have in the hospital is so important. And it is so much better to try to do these things as a student. So if you get them wrong, it's okay. But imagine trying to start an IV for your first time as a nurse already, and you have a patient like, aren't you a nurse? How did you graduate nursing school without starting an IV? So like, those are all things that you kind of need to remember. So just taking advantage of every opportunity that gets thrown at you during clinicals is something that is super important, and I felt like that was the last and final tip that I can give you guys. And it's definitely something that's super important, and that I will preach to everybody. Even if you've already been in nursing school for a semester, 2, 3, whatever, take every opportunity that you can. Do not let your nerves get in the way of a great opportunity to make you a better nursing student and to make you a better nurse. So that is all 7 tips for you. It says 26 minutes up there. Man, I can talk a lot. I feel like I can just talk all day. I can just sit here and talk all day. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you have any other questions, or if you have any comments to give me. I always respond to my comments. I love talking to you guys. If you guys ever need to get on a personal level, you guys can always DM me on Instagram, Nursing with Jackie. That is my specific nursing Instagram. Many girls have actually DM'd me asking me questions or advice, and I love to respond to you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to always send me a message. I will always respond. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.